and a great start to our session. Our next speaker is Michalis SPOURDALAKIS from the University of Athens. Michalis, I hand the floor over to you.
Hello, good morning from Athens, Greece. My name is Michalis SPOURDALAKIS. I'm the Dean of the School of Economics and Politics. And my short presentation is going to be, it's entitled Beyond Academic Excellence, Contributing to the EU Challenges and the Issue of Forced Displacement. And I'm going to do something that I don't usually do. I'm going to read the paper, so I'll try this way to discipline myself in terms of the time. So here goes. The international ranking of the universities worldwide tends to become the most important factor in evaluating the academic and social performance of our institutions. Unfortunately, the criteria of this list may pay little or no attention to the presence and the contributions of the universities to social issues. However, the University of Athens, the National Kapodistrian University of Athens, as the formal name is, has displayed an admirable activity in response to the issue of forced displacement. It is well known that the refugee or the forced displacement flows have been overpowering, as almost 90% of the people who try to transfer to Europe use Greece as their entrance to our continent. The situation was and still is more dramatic given that the country, Greece, was under strict conditions of the so-called Stability Pact, which, among other consequences, had led to a severe deterioration of the Greek civil and social services. As soon as the intensity of the problem became clear, my university took a number of integrated initiatives in the direction to assist the humanitarian way of dealing with the issue. In addition to participation of our rector to permanent or to ad hoc committees, for example, in various committees in the parliament, the university proceeded to the establishment of the Observatory Network for Solidarity and Contribution to the Refugees. The observatory took three-dimensional actions. One, at the academic research level, which surveyed the conditions of the refugees and introduced classes that aim in increasing the awareness of the issues involved. Two, at the education level, that involved a series of internships that benefited both our students and the refugee students. And C, active presence and contribution to all voluntary structures, both at the local, regional, and central governments. Most of these activities were services and comprehensive interventions in the fields, primarily in the fields of medical care, preventative and curing. In addition, a number of other initiatives had to do with the facilitation of the cultural and linguistic settlement of the refugees in both temporary and permanent settlements. The schools of humanities and education coordinated these specific activities. Finally, there have been a number of initiatives, seminar conferences, and other kind of these kind of meetings made. All these were organized in order to facilitate the university studies for the refugees. All these activities was organized in project groups, and these project groups have to do with a number of issues such as the collection of information, psychological support, training and education, medical and pharmaceutical intervention, logistical supports, dental care, cultural activities, and coordinated liaisons with government, local administration, which, as you probably know, is not the easiest thing, especially in my country. According to my university's records, a number of projects were completed and or are underway and they're developing, which of course did not solve the problem, the problem is huge. However, it has not only shown the university's alertness to humanitarian crisis of forced displacement, but also underlined the social concern of the academic community that stood in par to its academic excellence. So there were a number of programs which I'm not, it's going to be in my paper, which I'll send it to be on the site of our webinar. Just to mention a few, there is a postgraduate program of international medicine health crisis management, established of coordinated service under the responsibility, again, of the Center of Health Organizations, specialized tutors of the faculties of education of the University of Athens offer support to children hosted in accommodations with centers in the area of Attica. Expert staff of the Faculty of Musical Studies organize musical activities. The Department of Psychiatry activated a project helping refugee children. A group of multilingual university students volunteered for helping the refugee settlement and a number of other settlements. Now, judging from what my university has done or has accomplished, there is no doubt that the university can take a number of initiatives, especially at the regional and or at the national levels. However, it is rather difficult to them, for the universities, to provide a more comprehensive plan of an issue which, by definition, in my opinion, requires the widest possible interdisciplinary analysis and understanding. It is obvious that the growing phenomenon of forced displacement is not just cannot find an explanation in simple references to war, to famine, or to climate change, nor our understanding should limit itself to the questions of dealing with the pressing issues of the needed arrangements in the host countries. There are a number of distinct issues involved with this complex issue, and unless they are approached in an interrelated fashion, it is difficult to produce a comprehensive and operative understanding of the forced displacement. However, for the moment, so far, it seems that the various studies are fragmented or generalized or too specialized. They are partially the result of the ever-increasing specialization of the university fields and programs. This, in some ways, is rather very difficult to be overcome if one leaves the issue, an answer to this issue, to the internal dynamics of the academic community. The dedication of most of us, or most members of our community, to the specificities of our research fields usually allow no little room for comprehensive and effective contribution to the issue beyond to our normative orientation of every one of us. To break this deadlock, we need policy initiatives that promote simultaneously two things. First, we need policy initiatives to promote education and research programs among various universities at the national, regional, and EU levels, which focus on comprehensive multidisciplinary approach on the issue. New academic initiatives that aim in turn to two things. One, documented policy papers, and also the production of well-trained experts in this field. The second thing we have to do is we have to secure a clear commitment of the EU institutions and the EU member states governments to use both the graduate experts that these programs would produce and consider seriously the policy papers these new programs will produce. Of course, this is not a naive proposal. I do understand that there are ideological, political, and other kind of interest for each individual countries to force them to take seriously our academic work, the specialized and comprehensive academic work. However, we can make an effort to force them to take into consideration our production, our academic research production in a serious fashion. We cannot do more than that. So as long as we understand that the phenomena of and the flows of forced displacements are going to be with us for the visible future, as long as we understand that the policies in the field cannot continue to be solely the outcome of political considerations, as long as we recognize that the response cannot follow the logic that one size fits all, and that the policies should be custom-made for the individual countries, and as long as we realize that the need of interdisciplinary expertise on this kind of issue can only be performed by the widest collaboration among universities and centers, we have to follow that path. To me, this is the only way that academics can use properly their knowledge, the knowledge they acquire and the knowledge they produce in their ivory tower. And this is the only way that the political bureaucracies can be forced, in quotations marks, to take a look towards or turn their side towards the university's ivory towers in order to finally break the dead end of the socially ineffectiveness of our academic action. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Michalis. That was very insightful and gives insight into the complexity of the problem and a really interesting proposal for what we should be doing in the future. So thank you very much.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Our next speaker